Something I trained my husband to do pretty early on, and I recommend you train the men in your life to do this too, because this is kind of specifically a man thing, is that if he's looking for something, he hasn't given it a good try, like a good look with his eyes. Like if he's looking in the fridge, he's not allowed to shout to me, do we have eggs? He's not allowed to ask me, do we have toilet paper? Unless he's checked the cupboard where we keep the toilet paper. What I'm not gonna do is check this cupboard where we keep the toilet paper for you. And you could just do that. So now he's very careful when he asks me where things are. It has to be actually something where he doesn't know where it is. Tackled that in the home, but right now I'm living with my parents. In context is that I'm living with my parents because I'm so fucking sick from being pregnant that it's better for me to stay with them because they live like pretty close and my husband works all day, whatever. So today I'm on the couch, I'm sleeping. Why am I sleeping? Because when I'm sleeping, I'm not nauseous, and when I'm sleeping, I'm actually happy. Basically the only time I experience joy. So I'm just falling into a beautiful slumber on the couch and my dad walks in. And before I say this story, you know what? I want to shout out Joe, not my husband Joe, but his fucking friend Joe, who watches me on here. He's a snitch, calls my dad and is like, hey, your daughter was talking about you on the internet. Joe, quit outing me, Joe. Anyway, then my dad comes in, he's like, Joe called. I heard you said something about me online. I'm like, ugh. Anyway, whatever. My dad walks into the room and he goes, Sam, where's the dog? I hear him, but I know that the dog is 2 steps away, outdoors. And you know when you're sleeping, you don't want to wake up, so you don't want to like use your senses and like wake up. So I'm like, okay, I'm not answering that. He'll just take 2 steps to the door, look outside, and see that the dog is there. He goes, Sammy? And I'm like, is this guy fucking serious? And then he walks over to me and he goes like this, Sam, where's the dog? I go, are you serious? The dog's outside. And he's like, whoa, okay. And I'm like, how in your mind does it make more sense to wake up your sleeping, pregnant, sick as daughter than just take 2 steps to the door, see the dog's there, and if the dog wasn't there, then come wake me up? But what if I wasn't lying here? What would you do? You'd walk to the door and you'd see the dog and then you'd be like, oh, there's the dog. What are you fucking waking me up? I was like, what is wrong with men? What is wrong with that? I couldn't say that to him because he'd be like, oh, okay, living in my house. Why I oughta. Anyway, if I'm having a boy, I think I'm just gonna teach them that. I'm just gonna say, hey, I'll save you a world of trouble. Just take 5 and really try before you ask the woman in your life a stupid question, because sometimes those women are hormonal. And they snap at you and then you go, what happened here? Oh my God, is my relationship in peril? No, you just didn't fucking look. Now I'm on my period and you're going, do we have any clean towels? Exhaust your resources before you ask me a stupid question. And definitely, oh, my husband just messaged me and Pampers sent us a big box of diapers. Seeing as I'm not a mom yet, thanks Pampers, but I'm still in the business of wanting skincare, so. Anyway, there was a lesson in there somewhere. Joe, stop being a freaking snitch, Joe. Oh.
Training your husband to check thoroughly before asking a question is a solid strategy. This storyteller's thing with her parents while pregnant shared a funny moment where her dad disrupts her best to ask where the dog is, a question he could answer by simply looking outside. She jokes not training future sons to really try to find things first, saving everyone unnecessary interruptions. And then there's Joe, her husband's friend, who keeps playfully snitching on her posts.
I once had a stalker that was so obsessed with me, hated me so much that they followed me from job to job and tried to get me fired. And I know what you're thinking, probably a dude, right? Wrong. It was a 60-year-old woman named Carol. I've been sleeping on this tale, but it's a real good one. The reason I'm telling it now is because I realized recently I am no longer afraid of her. She was haunting me over my shoulder for so long. The amount of time, energy, and passion she put in to stalking my every move and trying to make my life miserable scared me a little. But now there's no one left for her to call. She can't get me fired from anywhere. She can't even hurt my feelings. So Carol, if you're still watching, it's time to square up. This is now a fair fight. The year was 2014 and I was working at a radio station. For a long time, I was just a board op, so I would run the board during Red Sox games. And I had recently been promoted to have my own show on Saturday mornings. The radio station had a Facebook page, and the Facebook page was pretty popular in my area. I personally feel like the vibes are like TMZ, but for your local town. Small town, rural New England, okay? Part of my job had always been to monitor the Facebook page, so I was already well acquainted with Carol by the time I started my Saturday show, because she was a menace online. This woman had to have been listening to this radio station all day long because she had so much time on her hands to dissect and analyze everything that we did or said. She was first and foremost the grammar police, so anytime someone even slightly misspelled anything, she would hop in the comments and like correct the spelling and then insult us for even having the spelling error in the first place, as if we're not like real humans typing. But my boss had a rule that if you had a show, you had to post on the Facebook page like a minimum of X amount of times per shift. So on Saturday morning specifically, I was like posting all morning long, and so Carol was up my ass the whole time. Also, by the way, she would listen to the whole show of yours in its entirety, and then she would hop on and make a post on the Facebook wall, a literal like thesis about how much you sucked and why. She never had anything nice to say, I swear. But what she hated about me specifically was my use of commas, because I used the Oxford comma, and she that, so she made sure to let me know every single time that I was using commas the wrong way. And also she hated that I'd say, hey guys, on air. Like, hey guys, you're listening to blah, blah, instead of saying, hey folks, because she felt like I was alienating women. That was the bone she picked with me. But when I started my Saturday show, I was trying to get a little creative. So one of my posts that I would make was this thing called Selfie Saturday, hashtag Selfie Saturday, where my co-host and I would go outside and take a selfie and do something weird in it. I don't know, it was kind of cringe, but like it was 2014, so everyone was kind of cringe back then. For the most part, Selfie Saturday went over well. Like no one really had an issue with it. It got the engagement that my boss was looking for. But you know who really hated Selfie Saturday? She made sure to let me know every Saturday. I swear to God, I almost dreaded working on Saturdays because I was like, Carol's gonna like fucking blow me up constantly. Oh, also, she wasn't just writing on the Facebook page. She would call. She would call the radio station just to tell you to your face-ish how much you suck. Like one time when I was an intern, my boss was like doing a show and I was there as the intern for the week. And he said something to me and I went, yeah, like joking. And she rang up the radio station and was like, that girl is so disrespectful. Like, why did you let her yeah at you? Like, oh my God, shut up. So anyways, one day I post a Selfie Saturday and she says something I can't even remember what she said. I wish I had a screenshot of it, but she said something really nasty to me in the replies. It was particularly insulting. So I was like 19. I screenshotted it and I tweeted it on my own personal Twitter. And I said, what a cunt. Because she was one, in my opinion. What I didn't know is that Carol was hate watching me. She was stalking all of my even though she hated me so much. So she saw that tweet like immediately after I posted it. Next day, I get a phone call from my boss who's like, we just got a call from someone who's very upset. I could barely even believe it. I thought they were lying to me. And then I logged onto your Twitter and there it is. You calling a listener. And my boss was like, this lady wants you fired for what you said. And I was like, are you gonna fire me? She was like, no. But I had to delete the thing and then it was like a whole thing, whatever. But I apologized to my boss and I was like, yeah, I'm sorry if that like put the station in a bad light. I should have blurred her name or something. But like, damn, this woman is insane. Like, do you see how she's stalking me, right? That's kind of weird. Anyways, time passes. She's still a jerk on the internet and she never changed her behavior. Still acts exactly the same. Fast forward, it's now like, it was like 2016. I start a new job at a new radio station. I start that job in May. In July, I tweet something. I tweeted, I've never met a Carol who wasn't a colossal, because it was true. And she wasn't even the Carol I had in mind when I tweeted that, right? The next day, I go into work and the receptionist, who is so much fun, I love him so much still to this day, he looks at me and he's like, I got this really strange phone call this morning from a restricted number from someone who wanted to talk to an executive at the radio station about you, ? And I said, wait, before you say anything else, did she mention my tweets or my grammar? And he's like, actually both. So apparently she's like pressing the receptionist about our social media policies. Like she's trying to catch me on a technicality to get me fired from this job because she didn't succeed with the first one. But for me, my favorite part of this was that she said, and I quote to the receptionist, she is targeting people online with specific names. Yeah, Carol? The receptionist, because he's awesome, was basically just like, yeah, I don't really know. We don't have any rules like that. Okay, bye. And like hung up the phone and didn't give it because he knew that this woman was like likely insane. And after that, in my Twitter bio, I just put, my tweets are my own, not my employer's, duh. And then every once in a while, one of my coworkers would tweet, Carol sucks at me, and I would just retweet it. And that felt good enough for me. I'm gonna speak directly to Carol for a second, just in case she's still out there, okay? Hey, I know it's been like 10 years, and this is 10 years too late. I just want you to know that I'm not sorry for what I tweeted. I actually meant it, and I don't take it back. In fact, I double down. I think you are a bad person and you need to find something better to do. I would never have even felt a need to tweet that if you hadn't harassed me and my coworkers for months on end. I hope everything that you look at is misspelled forever, and I hope it raises your blood pressure. Anyways, that's the story of my most committed stalker. Bye, guys. I mean, folks.
Kill's level of dedication to making someone else's life miserable That's almost impressive. If it weren't so disturbing, imagine having that much time on your hands just to obsess over someone's grammar and selfies. At this point, Carol's not just the grammar police, she's the entire precinct. And honestly, the storytellers got the perfect approach now. Let Carol stew in those forever misspelled words. It's the pettiest form of revenge, but it's definitely well earned.